Okay, all right, let me...
Since the creation of the internet, every industry has been turned upside down. Amazon changed retail. Uber changed transportation. YouTube changed video forever. With the invention of crypto, money is next. At the speed technology is growing, the future of money and securities are digital. 9 out of 10 millennials do not trust banks. The value of money relies on trust. Government debt is higher than it's ever been before. Central banks continue to print money. Fortunately, the world has a new solution. Experts predict in 7 years, 10% of the world's economy will be in crypto-based assets. Today, 1 billion people have access to the financial industry. Crypto is about empowering the other 6 billion people by banking the unbanked. Do not underestimate this. Do you wish you invested in Google, Amazon, or Netflix before anyone ever knew about them? $1,000 invested in Netflix turned to over $500,000. At Token Metrics, we help you find the next Netflix. Token Metrics users think differently about investing. They are early adopters looking for financial freedom. They are people who see a better world. A world without international borders. We believe in a world where everyone has access to the next financial revolution. At Token Metrics, we are creating a bridge that gets you to that revolution. We will help you make sound investments in this new world. The world's best investors do not rely on their intuition. They embrace technology and AI to invest. Token Metrics uses AI to find invisible patterns in data to help you invest and trade in crypto. In the past, we have used our data-driven system to achieve financial freedom. Now, we are giving you the keys. We created Token Metrics to be the only platform you'll ever need to make money in crypto. We give you AI and access to crypto experts at the best price. The moon is not the limit. To the moon and beyond.
Disclaimer. Tokenmetrics Media LLC does not provide individually tailored investment advice and does not take a subscriber's or anyone's personal circumstance into consideration when discussing investments, nor is it registered as an investment advisor or broker-dealer in any jurisdiction. Information contained herein is not an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any security. The Tokenmetrics team has advised and invested in many blockchain companies. A complete list of their advisory roles and current holdings can be viewed here at tokenmetrics.com/disclosures.
All right. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to the show. Just pardon my voice. It's been a long week, kind of under the weather. Bill, Forrest, how are you? Welcome.
Ian, hi. Thanks for having us on the show.
Hey, Ian. Forrest, how's it going?
Going well.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
So we have quite the show for you. So today we have crypto market cap touched $2 trillion. Then we have market predictions with Bill and Forrest. With that being said, the first person on the show was Florian. Florian was first. Hey, what's up? White Guys of Danny, Jacob, Anda, BTC Motivation, Mike Gold, Aronson, Taz, what's up? Crypto Family, Diego, Michael. All right. So guys, how's crypto? Bill?
Well, it's like Forrest said 2 weeks ago. It's big cap alt season, right? The big coins are leading. XRP coming out of nowhere, making the crypto verse rock. Do you want me to head straight into the market update?
Yes. By the way, Menti code, go to menti.com, MENTI.com. Use the code 63394380. That's 63394380, and post your questions. Okay, back to you, Bill.
All right, this is the market update sponsored by our friends at BlockFi. Don't just buy crypto and do something shocking with it. Earn interest. Speaking of interest rates, let's discuss Wall Street rule number 1. Don't fight the Fed. It seems that people have misunderstood Jerome Powell, who a long time ago I reminded viewers was an incredibly serious individual. He has said point blank, we will push money into the system until those adversely affected by the pandemic, particularly people of color and low-income people, are somehow able to recover. Meanwhile, the financial markets have gone into full smartass mode, where they have challenged the Fed's view. Long-term interest rates have risen, and somehow, some way, they think that they're going to prevent the Fed from doing exactly what they said they were just going to do, which also happens to be in alignment with what Joe Biden wants, not because it's a partisan issue, but because it's a national security issue. That's right, folks. The welfare and benefit and well-being of the citizens of the United States in this pandemic is a national security issue. So with that said, let's discuss what the printing press running can mean for crypto going forward. Galaxy Digital. Premium readers will note that this is one of my favorite things to lean on as a leading indicator. It's traded in Canada. It's the publicly traded stock of the biggest crypto hedge fund owned by Mike Novogratz. Now, what you'll see here is on a 2-day chart, Galaxy's taken out a big 45-degree Gann line. It's taken about 6 or 8 weeks to break this line. I think if Galaxy is above 33, it can go dramatically higher. I don't have the exact numbers on hands, but Galaxy makes about as much money as Coinbase and is worth only a fraction of the value. So I don't want to be long-winded about the Coinbase IPO because that's in the hands of Mr. Market next week. However, I suspect that when that IPO begins to trade, Wall Street and the world at large will not be able to ignore the value of the crypto space to humanity, right? Crypto as a universe is underpriced. There's an article that was written in 2018 by Multicoin Capital. It's a big hedge fund in Austin, Texas, talking about the value of total crypto market cap eventually going to $100 trillion. This, of course, includes the tokenization of assets like real estate. Bottom line, next week, watch Galaxy. Galaxy will probably reflect this idea that the total crypto space as a whole, including the currencies and the plumbing of the system, is undervalued. Total crypto market cap, as our host noted, crossing 2 billion. Fibonacci extension work shows that this is a slow rolling breakout, which usually means it's a sustainable and surprising breakout. Nobody home here on the resistance front until 2.8 trillion. All right. So that means a lot of room to run in the bigger coins. Okay. Altcoin market cap smoking NASA style. It was at 700 billion. It can probably rally to 1.1 trillion. That's either going to be Ripple combined with Ethereum, or it's going to be the Cardano, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash trade. Okay, Bitcoin. Everyone's forgotten about it. We haven't. Elliott wave work done on log charts, which I was introduced to thanks to Forrest, shows that it could be way more bullish in Bitcoin than anyone thinks. There is undoubtedly going to be an announcement in the upcoming earnings season showing somebody has continued to purchase Bitcoin, particularly since it sat completely still, reminiscent of what happened at 10,000. Using log charts plus Fibonacci work really shows that you can have six-figure Bitcoin very easily. You could also have a parabolic trajectory on that move. Now, in ETH, the ETH chart itself shows a lot of real estate to the upside, to perhaps 3,200. No earth-shattering technical reason to start that move other than the fact that, ETH bounced for the second time off an important Gann line. I think the ETH picture is way more bullish than anyone thinks because of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Okay. Now, I just got done telling you that whatever Bitcoin can do is enormous. And if Bitcoin is a six-figure instrument, then Ethereum is at 3,000, 5,000, or 6,000. Specifically, Ethereum versus Bitcoin is probably going to break out from a teacup and handle formation and is likely going to go from 0.036 eventually to 0.9. So once acceleration begins here, it could be dramatic. Now, speaking of acceleration, there's our friends who we wish well and we congratulate them, the XRP army out there fighting the government and winning at least in the small battles in the press. Looks like courts are giving the benefit of the doubt to Ripple so far. Now, technically, you have resistance at 142. A long time ago, we talked about XRP going to 3, and then we're humbled by Jay Clayton's last strike on the way out the door. In my opinion, if XRP is either not guilty or XRP eventually becomes something that holders can use to get airdropped a decentralized version of XRP, In other words, I can imagine an increasingly positive news flow around this if 145 gets taken out. That said, you have to be very careful. Ripple Inc. likes using these 3Xs to sell. So I know it's a fluid court situation. We're cheering for the XRP army, but please don't get smoked here. Now, one of the things that XRP has managed to do is help break out coins, or at least start breakout in coins that I think have serious value propositions. Litecoin is very beat up versus Bitcoin. People are going to be coming into the space, and people believe that Litecoin's visually appealing price makes it interesting. It is inside PayPal. I was in a restaurant, and the biggest steak on the menu cost $150. People are going to need to protect their purchasing power, okay? Their purchasing power by having cryptocurrencies that go up faster than inflation. Going back to our first point, if the Fed is going to put the pedal to the metal to try to save the people, then the rest of us better wake up and find ways to protect our purchasing power. That could be Bitcoin, that could be Litecoin, it could be Ether. You don't know, but holding some of these currencies in a portfolio, particularly the way they've moved recently, could be beneficial. Okay, Dash, also known as the reserve currency of Latin America. Pretty much I've been pounding the table on this. Me and the people who run the Dash Twitter feed are probably the only ones who agree that this has a dramatically higher future. The all-time high in Dash is something like 1,200. We put Dash in a recent portfolio that we sent to clients that I worked in conjunction with our financial engineering team. Elliott Wave work on this is strong, and when Dash moves, it really moves. So this is something to keep at least cognizant of, because the future of money trade is on. Okay, Cardano. Yes, I'm going to talk about Cardano. It is hitting a GAN line and it is bouncing. If you look at it this way or you look at a log chart, it's a very similar read. Now, if they can moon XRP, they can moon anything. If there's a DeFi application on Bitcoin Cash, there will eventually be a DeFi application on Cardano. I was not the biggest fan of this on the way up. I thought it was just like a quick 10x, but you can tell by the way this is consolidating, going sideways, that if total crypto market cap is going another $800 billion higher, it's hard to see Cardano not participating in that. Okay, Perpetual, a derivatives platform that we've looked at and liked, has retraced 62% of its recent move from 5 to 10. We think this is very interesting because speculative forces are bubbling up in crypto. Okay, derivatives, options, leverage is a potentially underrated theme coming to crypto, particularly if the big coins are going to go parabolic. I've had conversations with people where they simply ask, how can I get levered long? Perpetual is one of those things that is geared in that direction. Not investment advice. It's interesting, but we think the theme is all tied together. If people want to get levered long and it's about to go parabolic, leverage can just increase the power of the uptrade. All right. Now, one thing I want to just simply say is do not underestimate what crypto can do in this type of environment. These slow creeping markets, they're almost boring. Okay, they have these dips that are annoying, that make people really upset. That is usually the prelude to something big. So please be prepared, and if so, enjoy. And that is the market update.
All right. Thanks, Bill. I think the next segment is realistic price scenarios for VeChain. So this is the VeChain price prediction. I think we might have lost Ian, but we're just going to go right into the next segment. So this is VeChain, some realistic price scenarios for VeChain. So all too often, when the market's going crazy and there's well over 1,000 cryptocurrencies out there, and there's altcoins, there's small caps, there's medium caps, there's high caps, there's Bitcoin. The market's crazy and it's tough to keep track of. Not only that, you get on YouTube and you see headlines that say, Bitcoin going to $2 million by the end of the year, or VeChain going to $7 next month in May. And it can be misleading and it can be very confusing. So the point of this is to create some realistic price scenario models that we can use to try to put some parameters around what is actually realistic versus what is unrealistic in the market. So first, let's just take a look at VeChain's chart. And zoom out and take a look at the trend that's been going on recently. After the pandemic, VeChain has been one of the top performing cryptocurrencies in terms of total returns from the bottom in the pandemic and overall just staying in a very strong uptrend. Now, I do think, and I'm as big of a fan of VeChain as anyone. VeChain is actually probably my favorite project that I don't own, and I wish I owned some, but I did miss a good entry down here in this green band. And what these green bands and these red bands represent is just a channeling trend line over time that easily shows where it's been historically a good time to accumulate VeChain and when it's been a good time to potentially take profits. Now, right now, VeChain is pressing up against its top trend line here. So VeChain does look a little bit overbought, but that's representative of a lot of confidence in the market regarding VeChain. Everybody loves VeChain. So if VeChain is to break out of here, potentially, we could get an entire market that starts to move parabolic. Would I personally be taking some profits here at the very tippy top of this trend line? Yeah, I'd probably be taking a little bit of profits and maybe looking to buy back in lower in an accumulation phase if we break down, right? Taking profits isn't the worst thing in the world. So now let's take a look at VeChain's dominance or VeChain's market share. And we're going to use this to construct several scenarios that we can extrapolate some price predictions for this market cycle for VeChain. Now, obviously, we had a huge run up for VeChain's price after it launched. Shortly after 2018, we were 2,300% overvalued against this linear trend line on a logarithmic view. That just means that VeChain's price, as far as this trend line goes, has been growing exponentially. Now, occasionally we get bubbles up above this trend line where we become overvalued against the trend line. Sometimes we actually dip below this trend line and we have periods of good accumulation periods where VeChain is undervalued against the rest of the market. So we had 135% overvaluation and a 200% overvaluation back in mid-2020, right? So based off of this trend line, we can construct 4 market dominance scenarios that I think are somewhat realistic, right? So what happens if VeChain's dominance actually drops below this trend line again? That would be a scenario of about 0.25% market dominance. Now, what if it keeps up with relatively where it's at right now at about 0.44% market dominance? That means out of the total cryptocurrency market cap, VeChain makes up about give or take 0.44%, right? So that's just under 0.5%. So that's going to be our second scenario. Now we are on a bullish trend line and we are already overvalued against this trend line. So if this trend can continue and VeChain can push higher to either 0.75 or 1% market dominance, I do think that is realistic. Not only that, I think VeChain's fundamentals are sound and there's a lot of excitement about VeChain in the market. Now, what this purple line represents is, all right, let's just say if by July, VeChain did see another 200% overvaluation against its trend line, where would that put us? And would that be realistic? So it's kind of just a gut check of whether or not these market dominance scenarios are even realistic. And that would put us at a 0.89% market dominance, which is pretty much in the middle of 1.0% and 0.75%. So that tells me as a gut check, these are realistic price scenarios based off of historic data in market dominance. So now let's take a look at total cryptocurrency market cap. Total cryptocurrency market cap has been on a linear trend line, again on a logarithmic view. That means the total cryptocurrency space going all the way back to 2014 has been moving up exponentially. Now, occasionally we get these big bull markets. 2013, 2014, we were 1,600% overvalued against this trend line. Back in 2017 and 2018, 2,600%. This is when Bitcoin peaked at $19,700. And now, most recently, we've been on a trajectory headed towards a $5 trillion total cryptocurrency market cap by sometime in July. Now, obviously, we could have a down month. We could have a red month that sets us backwards, sets us back a little bit, but we've been holding this trend line towards $5 trillion in total cryptocurrency market cap by July fairly strong. And we've also got this trajectory headed out towards the end of the year, towards end of Q3, beginning of Q4, maybe October or November, where if we don't get a nasty correction and we can continue this trajectory like we had a huge trajectory back in previous market cycles, we could see maybe a maximum scenario of $10 trillion this market cycle. That would be a 1,400% overvaluation against this trend line. Again, another gut check that we can compare to previous data and say, well, that's probably our most bullish scenario is probably realistic, and it could happen. Now, we also have a more bearish scenario of, maybe some bad news comes out. Maybe, we pop up here and, we run into some macroeconomic factors that slow down the market. So we've also built in this $3 trillion scenario as well. Hopefully we will pass that in the near future. All right, so if we multiply out our market dominance scenarios by our total cryptocurrency market cap scenarios, we can create a scenario model matrix of potential price predictions for VeChain, right? So our most bearish scenario, or our bottom parameter, and these are the outlier scenarios, right? These don't necessarily mean that it's the most likely scenario. It's just a possible scenario. So the lowest possible scenario for VeChain, we've already crossed over. VeChain's trading at 14 cents today. So in order for us to actually go back down to 12 cents by the time the market peaks, we'd be at a $3 trillion market cap. But our market dominance for VeChain would have dropped to 0.25%. The more bearish scenario, undervalued against the market dominance trend line for VeChain. Now, our most bullish scenario would require a $10 trillion total cryptocurrency market cap. So our most bullish scenario for the total cryptocurrency market cap. And then our most bullish scenario where VeChain almost or more than doubles in market dominance or market share over the next several months and outperforms the rest of the cryptocurrency market by a factor of 2. Right, and that would put VeChain's price at a very bullish scenario of $1.54, over 10x from where it's at right now. Do I think this is the most likely scenario, or do I even think that this is likely? No, I think it's more probable that we see something in the middle here, right? And before we go to my personal prediction, and feel free to draw your own conclusions from this chart or from this table, I've also included a chart. Some people prefer charts, I prefer tables, but we've just got our different scenarios, the same data we were just looking at. We've got our $10 trillion total cryptocurrency market cap scenario in green, our $5 trillion scenario in yellow, and our $3 trillion scenario in red, with our corresponding VeChain market dominance scenarios on the bottom here. So if you had to ask me personally, what do I think is realistic for VeChain this market cycle? Well, I think this 58 cent scenario, and keep in mind, VeChain's only trading at 14 cents right now. So this isn't like a very bearish prediction. This isn't like a moonshot prediction, but it's not, it's not bearish on VeChain at all. I'm actually quite bullish on VeChain. So realistically, I think we could get a 3 to 4x from here out of VeChain. Now, a bearish scenario would be that we, continue on this trend, but maybe we don't get the total cryptocurrency market cap of 5 or 10 trillion that we're really looking for. And that might leave VeChain somewhere around 23 cents. And on the more bullish side, 77 cents. Now, I know we have two scenarios here over $1, and I do think those are possible. But for me, I think the most bullish scenario would be 77 cents if we really want to level ourselves. All right. Thanks. That's the VeChain scenario matrix. I hope that's helpful.
Thanks, Forrest.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. Okay. All right. So hope you like that. If you enjoyed that, please smash the like button, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend that crypto is the future. Okay. Let's now switch over to question of the day. Once again, go to menti.com, menti.com. Use the code 63394380. That's 63394380. So question of the day is, XRP breaks above $1 for the first time since March 2018. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I have you.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. XRP breaks above $1 for the first time since March 2018. Now what? The options are: the rally is on, nonstop to the moon. Second option, XRP is back, but it's hard to say where it's headed. Third option, the price may drop again soon. Okay. All right. I mean, quite the week for Ripple and XRP. Bill, your thoughts on XRP and Ripple and what's happening?
Crypto is fighting back, and courts are letting them. I think XRP and Ripple's victory this week is to show that there's an argument for crypto, that the fact that the SEC can just rattle its sabers and everybody in crypto has to fold up their tent and give up is no longer the case. Now, speaking of the case, I don't know how Ripple passes the Howey test in court. However, if Ripple can make an argument based on these ideas that XRP is no different than Bitcoin or Ethereum, I think the thing that people may be missing is how violently the entire space can move if XRP can prove that it's not a security. Most argue XRP is a security, but the XRP argument is going to get heard by a judge, not by God or some permanent, sure thing entity, right? It's a person or people that are going to hear the argument that decide. That's why XRP is mooning. That's why XRP could continue to moon. I'm confident Ripple Inc. will continue to sell into the rally if they can, because that's what they always do. But the biggest point for XRP is the higher it goes, the higher overall crypto market cap can go, not just numerically, but psychologically. So I do think if they've taken it to $1.42, okay, and $1.45 holds, why not take it to $2? I don't know how many more positive catalysts they've got left, but it looks like the XRP army is going to try. Just remember, Ripple Inc. will be selling.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Forrest, what do you think about XRP and what's happening?
So I agree with Bill. And I think that it's not necessarily, this is a psychological trade. It's almost a meme trade like Dogecoin at this point. And what I mean by that is I don't think that it's smart money that's aping into XRP at $1.37 right now. I think it's angry money. I think this is an anger trade of people protesting potentially against the SEC. Right. So I don't think that it's smart money getting in, but we have seen the power of angry money in the past with GameStop. We've seen these psychological trades with Dogecoin, where the fundamentals of the project mean nothing, but it just continues to pump. If there's a reason, if there's a purpose for people to buy XRP and they feel like they're taking a stance against something through buying XRP, then obviously it can go a lot higher. I think angry money is very, very powerful. But to be quite honest, I don't think that it's the smart money that's jumping in right now for whatever that's worth. I do think XRP can go a lot higher. People jump on board and continue this trend and make it a big deal and make it a big protest trade. But I don't think long term, or at least I think long term, there's risks involved with XRP, obviously with the lawsuit right now.
All right, thank you, Forrest. Yeah, so I mean, I would go with second option. XRP is back, but it's hard to say where it's headed. But for those who don't know, pretty much the SEC case with XRP slash Ripple, the SEC issued subpoenas to 6 banks requesting for access to the financial records for different people on the board, and basically a judge said that that's basically overreaching. And then also, so if you just go on Google and just search this article from a crypto slate, SEC versus Ripple, and I think this is huge. This case could really set the future of crypto, because if Ripple slash XRP is able to win against the SEC, that will be huge. But I think even if they lose, the fact that now a judge has granted them the ability to get all communications internally in the SEC on discussions on what cryptocurrencies are securities. So having access to that information is a treasure trove. So I think regardless of whether XRP will win or lose, I think the SEC will now have to really play their cards and fully define what's deemed a security, why, and then give a pathway for new projects to now know what to do. So tell us what you think. Let's see what the crowd has voted. All right, so the winner is XRP is back, but it's hard to say where it's headed. Okay, let's now go to thought of the week. The total crypto market value hits 2 trillion. Do you think institutional investors are getting into DeFi now? The options are definitely, they're here already. Second option, not yet. They still need a while. Last option, I don't think they would be interested in DeFi. So Forrest, what do you think about DeFi and institutional investors?
Yeah, I think institutions could definitely be getting their toes wet. You know, the APYs on some of these LP opportunities, some of these yield farming opportunities, some of these decentralized lending and borrowing protocols is very, very attractive. And we're seeing DeFi continue to do extremely well, despite Ethereum having very high gas fees. Well, who do gas fees not really matter to? Institutions. I don't think institutions care about a $40 transaction fee. Now, if you talk about the average person that's trading a small portfolio and might only have $10, $20, $30,000 to put into DeFi, paying an $80 gas fee to transact on the Ethereum's blockchain or on the Ethereum network is very painful. That transaction fee stings bad. And we're seeing DeFi continue to do well despite that. So I absolutely think that institutions are getting involved in DeFi.
All right, Bill, what do you think?
I think institutions are not here yet, but they're coming in a big way. One theme I've been repeating over and over again is that when all the big corporations get done buying Bitcoin, the treasurers are going to knock on the CEO's office door and say, "Sir, ma'am, we have a currency that's just sitting around, and we need to define and start to get yield on some of the currency we have in our portfolio." The only way to do that is to turn Bitcoin into the collateral of a new banking system and put it into DeFi. So if you think there's a lot of DeFi assets under management now, wait until Michael Saylor decides that some of his Bitcoin has got to get wrapped and travel on the ETH blockchain. This is this hugely underrated idea, right? That Bitcoin is the collateral for a new financial system, and the big players they're just getting the Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and as soon as they get it there, they're going to have to get a return on it.
All right, thank you, Bill. Some people are having issues with the Menti code. Hopefully it's been resolved. Just refresh the page. If you're still having any issues, then tell us down below. Okay, so I think when it comes to institutional investors in DeFi, I don't think they're there yet because KYC, AML is really a big concern. I think until there's an actual platform that can really help institutions partake in DeFi in a compliant fashion, that's when I think they'll get in. Okay, so let's see what the audience has to say. And the winner is definitely, they're here already. Runner-up was not yet. They still need a while. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why some people are having issues with Menti. Okay, so let's go to Crypto Showdown. Still not working. Okay. Yeah, okay. Menti code is 63394380. Let's actually take a look. Just give me 1 second, sorry. Since we're having an issue with Menti, we want to make sure it's working before we proceed. Okay, I'm not sure why it's saying the question is not open for voting. Okay, apologies. Seems there's a glitch on Mentimeter. Because over here it's open. Let me just refresh my page. Okay, yeah, because hopefully that fixed it. If not, not sure what's going on, but we'll proceed. Okay, time for Crypto Showdown. So which of these 3 coins will be the top altcoin picks for April? The options are 1, Elrond, 2, Engine, and 3, 1inch. You all know I love 1inch Exchange. They were recently added on Coinbase, which is great news. Bill, out of these 3, which one are you most bullish on for April?
Well, sir, no big shock here. I think 1inch Exchange, like from a technical point of view, has to be looked at. Bulls and Bears are playing a game around 585. This structure of go up and sit is exactly what we saw in a lot of coins, theta, synthetics at their very bottom. Coinbase IPO, as I've said ad nauseum, is going to affect the valuation of the whole crypto space. If centralized exchanges are worth X, we think decentralized exchanges can also benefit from that. When legacy investors come to altcoins, they are going to want to play in something reputable. They are going to want to play in something that's backed by a player like Novogratz. Now, I know we had sellers at 585 in this, but I just have a really hard time seeing a parabolic move in the system and having people not participate in this. People doubted Uniswap. People laughed at sushi, and people are getting bored to tears in 1inch waiting for it to happen. I'm not going to lie to you. I hear your pain out there. You're bored with this. You want it to 3x. You want it to 10x. Frequently, I've seen this in bull markets. They bore you to tears. That Coinbase IPO hits the market and Bitcoin takes off, or Ethereum takes off, and there's news about layer 2 solutions and solutions where ETH gas fees can come down in the future. 1inch has a lot of upside, not financial advice.
All right, thank you, Bill. Let's go to Forrest. Out of those 3 coins, which one are you most bullish on?
100% agree with Bill. 1inch is, I think, a phenomenal pickup right now. It really hasn't pumped yet, other than one time, and it pumped from $1 to $6, right? And then it came back down to its trend line. And I personally, my philosophy is investing in good projects with good entry points, right? If you're in a bull market and you get a good entry point, even on a bad project, the bull market will probably bail you out in the short term, and you might have an opportunity if you have a good entry in order to take profits. Now, if you invest in a good project with a longer term time frame, even with a bad entry and you're buying at the top, Bitcoin, for example, you could have bought Bitcoin at $19,000 with a long-term time frame, and you've 3x your money so far, right? So when you can put those 2 things together and have a good entry as well as investing in a good project, then your risk dramatically falls, right? So I think not only is 1inch a good project, but I think right now is a good entry Again, not financial advice, but we've just seen it go sideways, and it really hasn't pumped other than its first wave of price exploration going from $1 to $6, and it's sitting on its exponential trend line. Right. So I'm very bullish on 1inch, especially in the next month. I'm also very bullish on the DEX space in general. So 1inch looks like a great opportunity.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. So if we go to token metrics and looking at the visual trends indicator for all three coins, they're all bullish. So Elrond turned bullish March 26th at $146. Then if we go to Engine, it turned bullish in January at 16 cents. And then 1inch turned bullish recently, March 29th at 450 basically. Now, I've been farming 1inch. I think they're very, very undervalued relative to all the other DEXs. So I think there's more upside in them. And I think, especially now after being added to Coinbase, once the wave of retail investors and traders comes into the space after the Coinbase IPO, as Bill mentioned, I think it's going to be huge, right? Because if you compare this to Uniswap and SushiSwap in terms of valuations, I think there's just so much upside on 1inch. Okay, so let's see what the audience has voted as the winner. Top altcoin pick for April is, drum rolls please. Oh, it's a tie. Elrond and 1inch. Okay, wow, okay. Definitely good projects in both. Tell us what you think. Do you think the tie is deserved, or do you think they're wrong? Tell us what you think down below. Okay, Muhammad is saying yes. 1inch did rebrand to 1inch Network, which is very, very interesting. Okay, all right. We're actually going to skip cryptotherapy today. Okay, question from the forum: crypto trading / investing best practices. Is there a tutorial video about crypto trading investing best practices, do's and don'ts? Right now, there is no tutorial that we've made. I know Bill in the past has made a few videos or answered questions, but we do have Token Metrics Academy coming out. We also have a book coming out, and there'll be a chapter in there on TA done by Bill. But yeah, Bill, Forrest, any best practices or trading guides or anything like that to share with our audience regarding trading and TA?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, not financial advice, of course, but I would say take risk management very, very seriously. If you're trading with too large of allocations of your portfolio, let's say you have $1,000 portfolio for easy math, and your trade sizes are $300, $400, $500, or heaven forbid $1,000. You're entering a trade with your entire portfolio. That's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for getting liquidated and losing all of your money very quickly. So as far as resources go, I don't have any off the top of my head, but I would say, find resources that talk about risk management, because if you understand risk management, if you understand risk management, you can actually be wrong more often than you're right and still be profitable. You can actually be wrong 55% of the time and correct 45% of the time, but still be profitable if you manage your risk correctly.
All right. Great words. Thank you, Forrest. Bill?
I think the most important thing you can do regarding at least TA is you're going to have to develop your own method, and that's going to be by trying yourself. Yes, I know that's unbelievable to try to go from a book to a position, but this segues off what Forrest said. If you have a certain amount of money and you want to start learning all things crypto, the best way to do it is to try and enter a position of some kind, a small position. This position will have a huge impact in terms of focusing your attention on how the market moves. That will then help your mind transition over and develop your own system for understanding, charting, or just navigating the market. If you are on a learning path, even if you get upset, you will probably remember if you continue to learn and grow and expand, that your most important assets in crypto are the capital you have to trade with, and your personal sanity. So learning expands your mind. Expanding your mind leads to better decisions, which then leads to profitability. But you've got to have that initial position, and you've got to have the fortitude, and you've got to believe in yourself so that you don't look at a YouTube video like this and go, wow, these guys are experts. I could never do this. No, you can do this. You're already doing it by listening to us. You're learning. If you have a chart, I started with a pencil and graph paper. That was a long time ago. But you have other ways to teach yourself how to navigate the market, or how to understand what's happening, or when you should trade and when you should not. So yes, this is an emotional game, but stay on the expanding pathway. Don't get caught in the tunnel vision of, I missed out, I can't do this. I mean, if everyone who was successful sat around and said that, no one would be successful. So consider that when you start trading in crypto.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Okay. Time for the AMA. Yeah, I'm not sure why some people are having issues with the Menti code. Apologies for that. We'll have to look into it. Okay. First question up. What is going on with Hedgic? Not moving. Any thoughts? Thanks. Yeah, sure. Okay. So Bill, maybe if you could pull up and do TA on Hedgic. If we go into token metrics and look at the visual trends indicator, we do see that the low frequency indicator has turned bearish on Hedgic, dating all the way back in Feb, and pretty much nothing has happened since then. So not sure if there's any lack of news or anything like that, but definitely something to be cautious of. Bill, let me know when you're ready in terms of TA. Now, I think the space is also getting very, very saturated, because there are lots of other projects that are entering the space that are also doing options on DeFi. For example, there's Siren, which was a project I personally invested in. I'm bullish on that one based on the code review. But the space is getting crowded. There's also Charm Finance, there's OPM and a few others. So the space is getting very, very crowded. And I think that could also be a factor, but I've not really kept up in terms of any news on the project.
All right, so let me pull up something here. I think Ian has said it best. The space is getting too crowded and people are giving up, right? I think this is a particular problem in Hedgic. I'm trying to pull up the chart right here so I can give you at least some kind of visual. People are giving up. Now, frequently, when people give up, that can be the best time to get in, right? When we start getting inquiries like, oh God, what's happening? Or I can't take it anymore.
Okay, looks like we lost Bill. Okay, so pulling this up here on my screen, if we look at all these competing projects in the space, Hedgic, according to CoinGecko, has the highest market cap. Producer, if you could pull up my desktop. Okay, all right, there we go. Okay, yeah, so looking at this, Hedgic has a market cap of about 100 million. The second closest is Antimatter, which has 50 million. And then Siren, the project I mentioned earlier, at $15 million market cap. But the space is pretty crowded. And I think people are just going where the money is. And right now, there hasn't really been any money in the option space in terms of ROI. So I think currently in a bull run, people have been floating to what's sexy. First, any comments on Hedgic?
Yeah, I was gonna echo exactly what you said. The space is getting really crowded. Just looking in, when I review, 50 projects a week, there's always a couple of DeFi options protocols in there that haven't even launched yet. It's getting saturated and very competitive. And now I haven't actually tested any of these Haven't tested out Hedgic or Antimatter in terms of actually going on there and trading options to see how their user experience is. But if the transaction fees right now are too high, and there's not institutions that are able to soak up those transaction fees, and it's just regular people with smaller portfolios that are trying to trade options, they're probably just going to flow over to a centralized options platform like Deribit or something that's more robust. I'm not sure if the user experience on these platforms are ready yet for people to actually use them at a large scale. That would be my main concern.
All right, thank you, Forrest. Okay, next question. When will traditional markets come to token metrics? Great question. Right now, we want to first master and really fully grasp crypto with token metrics, with machine learning and AI and everything. Once we're comfortable with crypto, then we do have, I would say, plans to possibly expand into all capital markets, right? Because ideally, imagine if you could use token metrics not just for crypto but for stocks, and be able to compare, for example, Ethereum versus Tesla, right? So that's kind of something we have thought about. There's no actual roadmap on when that will come. I would say probably several years in the future. Now, first, what would you think about adding stocks to token metrics?
I like the idea. I mean, right now, I'm not invested very heavily at all in stocks. I want the exposure to crypto right now. We're in a bull market. I think obviously stocks add some diversity to your portfolio, but for me, I'm all in on crypto, and that's where I want to have my money. Now, in the future, when the macroeconomic landscape of things changes and there's reason and stock, the stock market becomes more attractive to me, I would absolutely value having stocks on the token metrics site.
All right, awesome. So somebody had a question regarding 6,000 tokens. So yes, 6,000 tokens now should be working on the site. There might still be a few issues in terms of performance, but most tokens now should be available. So it was something our community has been asking for a while. Now everybody, well, not everybody, but if you're in the pro plan, you have access to all 6,000 tokens. Then we do plan to make changes to levels of access. That should be confirmed hopefully by next week or this coming week rather. So we do plan to increase the level of access for hodler plan and investor plan to give you more access, because now there are more assets on the platform. But we think this is something that will definitely add even more value. Okay, so let us continue here. Give me 1 second. Okay, it's tough for us to really do individual coin analysis, so let's see if we can skip some of these. Okay, all right. So here's a good question. When is the right time to retire the profits? And when we do, where should we be reinvested? Ethereum or altcoins with good scores? How do you proceed? Okay, so basically, when to take profits, and should we reinvest into Ethereum and other altcoins with good scores? Okay, I guess, Forrest, what's your profit-taking strategy?
Yeah, so going back, there's all sorts of signals for taking profits, right? Going back to the VeChain chart that I had pulled up, right? It can be as simple as being at the top of a channel and wanting to take some short-term profits and having a good exit strategy. Okay, we're pressing up against the top of this channel. That means there's a high likelihood that VeChain does come back down a little bit. So a little bit of it's going to be TA, but for me personally, a lot of it is based off of Bitcoin's movements in the bull market. Now, I use something that I call margin buying pressure levels, and that's trying to predict the psychological behavior of margin traders. And that's, maybe we can put a video out on that exact strategy on YouTube another time. But the idea is I'm trying to time key support and resistance levels in Bitcoin's price, knowing that Bitcoin is the leading indicator of the rest of the market. Now, occasionally altcoins do decouple from Bitcoin, and we see altcoin dominance run up. And we do tend to see that towards the end of a Bitcoin market cycle. But for the most part, if Bitcoin crashes 30%, it's bringing the rest of the market down with it. So I'm actually heavily focused on the Bitcoin chart to tell me when it's a good time to take profits. My next big key levels for Bitcoin are, I think there's going to be significant resistance in the zone between $75,000 and $86,000. And that's where I plan on taking profits. I'll probably be taking profits into DAI. And I saw a question about Alchemix and asking our thoughts on Alchemix. I actually plan to take a significant portion of my profits, throw it into Alchemix, where you deposit your DAI and you start earning 12.5% through the Yearn Finance Vault. And then you can take out a 50% loan against that deposited DAI, right? So let's say you drop $10,000 into Alchemix. You start earning 12.5% on that, and that 12.5% yield goes to paying off your 50% loan. So then you take out $5,000, and guess what you can do with that $5,000? You can do anything you want. So I actually plan to take out some profits in stable coins, put those into Alchemix, earn 12.5% yield through Yearn Finance, and then with my loan from Alchemix, I'm going to be looking to buy a dip. If Bitcoin drops 30%, and brings altcoins with it, I'm going to be looking to buy a dip with that, extra 50% loan that I'm getting through Alchemix. So that's my personal strategy. That's not going to be for everybody, but that was the question. So a little bit more, it might be considered an advanced strategy, but it's something that I'm heavily looking into.
All right, thank you, Forrest. And Bill is back. Bill, what's your strategy or any tips in terms of when to take profits and when to reinvest?
One thing I tell people all the time on this stream, and I don't mind repeating myself, is that, whether you're new or you're an advanced trader, if you look at your P&L on a particular trade and you go, my God, that's a lot of money, or my God, I can't believe what this thing has done, that is usually your internal mechanism telling you to sell. You can sell part of your holdings all the way up. No one ever sells the top. There's some sort of myth in this altcoin cycle that there's such a thing as selling the top. And if you don't sell the top, you failed. That is absurd. You can sell along the way, pay yourself. Congratulate yourself for doing a good trade. Also, you do not have to sell all of your position. Forrest has made, a living defining targets on the upside for big coins like Bitcoin that he uses to then turn around and take profits in the rest of his portfolio. Regardless of what system you use, try to use a system, try to use some common sense in paying yourself and knowing that you're going to want to take money off the table and perhaps hold something that you truly believe in for, say, a longer term trade where you won't be upset if it gyrates 30%. Now, we always say that on the show. We always talk about, oh, don't worry, I'll hodl. And if it goes to zero in a bear market, I'll just sit every day and look at it at zero like this and be okay with the fact that I had a 5X and then it went to zero. And I had to look at that for 2 years. Don't kid yourself. You can hold some of your position. You can and should let winners run. But I would not, just because I had a profitable trade, say I'm holding forever. Guys who can do that are people who bought at 10 cents and then it goes to $20. They can hold forever. But if it's at $20 and you bought it at 15 and it goes to 25, okay, you consider managing your risk and rewarding yourself if you're correct. You can always keep some for a moonshot, but over the long term, especially when you're either trading with a percentage of your portfolio or you're running a portfolio, you will do well to rebalance and reward yourself for good ideas.
All right, thank you, Bill. Yeah, I fully agree with Forrest and Bill in terms of taking profits? If you have to ask that question, you probably want to take some profits. Now, the other part of the question, should you reinvest that into Ethereum or into altcoins with good scores? Now, for us, I would say for me personally, I only invest in altcoins with good scores based on technology, based on token metrics, based on our engineers going through and actually looking at the actual code. Because at the end of the day, if you're putting money into it, you have to make sure that it has a good score. Otherwise, why are you putting money into it? Unless you're trading or speculating. In that case, me personally, I put less than 1% of my portfolio into it. But if I'm going to invest into something for the long term, I want to make sure that when the music stops playing, I'm holding a good project that's solid, that will still be around in 5 years. So definitely recommend only investing in projects with great scores. Okay, let's continue to a different question. Okay, what are some signs that we should be preparing for a bear market? If so, what is a good allocation for our portfolio to endure the bear market cycle? Okay, Bill, what do you think? Any signs for a bear market and how to prep for it?
You know, it is absolutely incredible about how the dialogues that I'm participating in cryptocurrencies are dominated by talk of a bear market. I was working in a cryptocurrency company in 2018 during the bear market. I stepped off the stage after going crypto forever with Bitcoin at 6,000. And by the time my plane landed, it was at 4. I don't understand why people are cheering for a bear market, probably because they think that they can buy everything at 0 and have it 100x some years later. Don't wish for a bear market. I don't know if you've ever actually seen a bear or Googled what happens, say, when a human has a negative encounter with a bear. It doesn't go well. I think if you're going to be facing a bear market or you're going to be facing a negative situation in crypto, it's going to be a wild range that has people buying the top and selling the bottom. I don't think it's there yet because I think that there's a final parabolic phase. If there's a strategy for a bear market, it's called putting your helmet on and hiding under your desk, because that's what bear markets do. All right. Yes, they create buying opportunities, but I think we're so far removed from the viciousness of 2018 that we've almost turned a bear market into a teddy bear market. Okay. So please be careful what you wish for. You know, I remember the pain of 2018. I do understand that, you know, enormous opportunities can be created. But at the end of the day, if you think there's going to be a correction, right? If you think there's going to be something bad that's going to transpire, the best strategy is to protect yourself and protect your wealth. Because again, what are your 2 biggest assets in crypto? Is it Bitcoin? Is it Ethereum? Or is it your trading capital and your sanity? Something to consider.
All right, Forrest?
Yeah, and if we could jump over to my screen real quick, the first part of that question was, what are signs that there's potentially an impending bear market? It's increased volatility to both the upside and the downside, right? Last market cycle, we went from $3,000 to $19,700 in 3 months, in less than 90 days, right? So when you start seeing things move parabolically, there's high incentive for people to take profits, right? You know, when you've got a 6x and you were even late to the game, when you were able to buy at $3,000 after things had already run up from essentially like $200, and you were still able to bag a 6 or 7x, there's very high incentives to take profits. So when things start moving extremely with extreme volatility, that's a sign of a potential bear market, because there's very high incentive to take profits. The other part of the question was what to do with your portfolio. Again, not financial advice, but for me, I'm looking at trying to maintain some form of yield. So the coins that I am in that are solid projects, I want to be either staking with them in this event of if I'm in Ethereum or Polkadot, I'm staking to increase my yield through a bear market. And then if I can't stake with them, I'm probably going to be providing liquidity or doing some form of yield farming. If they're not a stable coin. If they are a stable coin, then I'm also going to be looking into again yield farming, but also potentially lending. But I'm going to be trying to find additional sources of yield on my crypto portfolio, whether that's in stable coins and or in non-stable coins, right? Bitcoin and altcoins. Right. So it just comes down to, finding additional sources of yield to gain in a bear market. That way, when your portfolio is in much better shape the next time a bull market does come around, maybe 2, 3, 4 years down the road, and that those 12% gains on your portfolio while you've been yield farming actually turn into much higher gains when the bull market gets there.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. And I think in terms of other signs for a bear market, if you're looking around and as Bill mentioned, you're seeing so many people making money, and you see people who normally would not be in crypto or who didn't really care about crypto entering the space, and they begin to make a bunch of money. Pretty much, I would say as a value investor, there's this quote from Howard Marks. He says, "What the wise man does in the beginning, the fool does in the end." Right? So meaning that when you see people who normally have no business being in crypto or in or in investing in general making money, it might be signs of the end. Right? Maybe the music is about to stop. Right? So you want to, because you always want to be a step ahead. You want to be a wise person, right? So best example is, let's say your friends who totally hated crypto hit you up and begin doing degen yield farming. Maybe it's time to get out of that, right? So I'll use that as a sign. But anyway, on to the next question. Okay, 5 projects with 20x potential by end of the year. Okay, 20x first of all is pretty tough, right? Even in a bull run. And just by the premise of that question, I would say you would probably only have to look at projects with a low market cap. So me personally, projects I'm looking at or projects I have invested in that are low cap. Let me go through my list here on my portfolio. So I'm very bullish on Armor. That one I've been bullish on for a while. I think that has, in my opinion, 10x potential, maybe 20x as well. I'm also bullish and investing in Siren, which is an options platform for DeFi. That one, as I mentioned earlier, has a $15 million market cap. I've been getting even more bullish on P Network, PNT. I think what they're doing, if you compare them to Ren, I've not really done a deep dive on Ren, but ideally long term, I'd like to kind of compare the two projects and see if I think P Network can really compete with Ren. But I think what they're doing is great. They have partnerships with Polygon / Matic. They have four chains already. There's EOS, there's Binance Smart Chains, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, I believe, and I think some other project called Telos blockchain. I like Idle. Idle also has a low market cap. On my watch list, I have Kine. That's been on my watch list. I'm waiting basically for a good entry, but that one I think also has 10x or 20x potential. Forrest, do you have any projects you think have 20x potential by end of the year?
Yeah, so I'm a little bit less diversified with my low cap portfolio, but a couple projects I like. I've talked about Audius a ton here before. It's in the middle of a pretty deep correction, and it could be we could be granted an even better buying opportunity after tokens vest on April 23rd and the supply gets diluted a little bit. So I do think audio is a long-term hold for me, but I do think it could perform extremely well this market cycle as well. Some other ones, if I can just jump over to my portfolio here and see. Yeah, I'm pretty bullish on Rarible, to be honest. We haven't had a chance to review the code because they don't have a public GitHub, which really is not ideal. But the NFT narrative is here, and I think they have a really solid platform. And then I'm also still bullish on RGT, Rari Government's token. It's had a nasty correction. I think it got as low as maybe $10 or so, but I know it was hovering at around $13 for quite a while. And then I'm particularly interested in Rally. I think Rally scored pretty well on the code review, and they're doing social currency, which I think is going to play into decon, or decentralized content, decentralization of the content economy. And I think there's going to be a lot of content creators that want to launch their own cryptocurrency. Now, the problem with Rally, I believe, is the fully diluted market cap is pretty high, and they still have a fairly low circulating supply. So I would be wary of that. But as a project in this space, I'm pretty bullish on it as well.
All right, Bill, are there 5 products you're bullish on by end of the year that you think could possibly 20x?
Okay, well, we've covered a lot of them. The one thing that I've been introduced to, that I've been studying, is something that a smart friend of mine showed me called Kylan. It is in the Polkadot universe. So on one hand, you have to be careful with things like this. On the other hand, as I understand it, Kylan, symbol KYL, is almost an aggregator of oracles. In other words, it allows for oracles that are already out there to be used without there being one clear winner. They've been accepted or acknowledged by a big technology incubator at Berkeley, and they're in line to be one of the Polkadot parachains. It's been doing nothing. It's been volatile. It's up today. Somebody's going to win the Polkadot parachain game, right? I know everyone has been playing Cardano. I know Polkadot is dangerous because Polkadot itself is fine, but all this stuff that will benefit from Polkadot is at risk if the market turns. However, if you're looking for 20x between now and the end of the year, honestly, you've got to risk losing a lot of money in order to get that type of a gain in just 6 to 8 months. So Kylan is one symbol I'm looking at.
All right, thank you, Bill. Okay, let's go to the next question. What are your thoughts on this Sere network ICO on Tuesday? Major backers, Binance Labs, Huobi, Arrington, and competitor for Filecoin is Snowflake. Okay, I saw this announcement. I haven't looked into this project myself. First, is this on your watch list, or have you looked at this project?
So I looked at this project so long ago that I can't remember exactly what the use case is, but I do remember when we were talking about it in a meeting, somebody mentioned that Binance Labs may have actually pulled out of their funding round. I could be wrong on that. I could be spreading false FUD there. I don't want to put something out that isn't true, but I think there was some question as to whether or not Binance Labs was actually fully invested in them, or if they withdrew funds at the last moment. It did score from a fundamental perspective. I do remember that it did make a watch list. It scored fairly high from a fundamental perspective, and I can't remember the exact score off the top of my head, but it looks pretty decent. It did look pretty good. I don't know if we did a code review on it though.
Okay, yeah. This is Polkadot ecosystem, so it's definitely speculation because Polkadot is not ready. Unless I'm wrong. Yeah, because here, Polkadot inspired next gen. So it's basically Filecoin for Polkadot, it looks like. Just doing a quick scan on the site. Anyway, we've not really had a chance to do a deep dive on this project yet. So can't really comment too much on their upcoming token sale. Okay, let's go on to the next one. I think we can kind of cover this with Bill. Thoughts on, I think that's Kylan and AOS. We covered this before in a past show. It's basically not ready, right? My understanding is speculation. So, okay, please, if you can have a look at FXF and UNN. Thanks for the support. Okay, Bill, if you could pull up these projects, let's take a look at them. Let me see if we had them on the site as well. FXF. A Phoenix float. This is the one Coach K has been talking about a lot. Okay, looking at this. So the visual trends indicator has been bullish since March 20th at basically $1, but it's basically been going down. It's now down to 89 cents. Then the other one was UNN.
Okay, I have that here. I'm pulling it up.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm seeing this type of action in a lot of coins. This looks like a give up trade in process. In other words, this is not the exact thing that happened with Rari, but it's similar. A coin runs up, it makes kind of a distribution top, and then a lot of people wind up selling it right down to a point where you should probably be buying it. So 0.067 is the 62% retracement of the recent run up. Okay. And it's always amazes me how violent the selling can be right at critical technical points. So yes, this looks awful. There are a couple of altcoins tonight that look awful, but Armor looked awful for weeks right before it took off. So not financial advice, but, buy low, sell high. If you want to take a shot and you have a fundamental reason for liking these coins, this one in particular may give you a reason to step in.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Next question. Okay. Let's have Bill pull that up. OMG Network. I also pulled this up here on Token Metrics. So looking at this, looking at the low frequency strategy here, it's been pretty bullish on, or rather bullish on this since March, early March at 542. Right now it's at 952. So almost a 1x since then. Bill, let me know when you're ready. If we go to...
Okay, coming up here. Okay, so I'm looking at OMG. It really seems like there's upside to say 11. Okay, it's run into some pretty serious selling here. Somehow I suspect that the reason it's kind of running into sellers early is because people may be anticipating a big Bitcoin or Ethereum move. That said, if you're looking to buy a dip, it looks like 9.34 would be a good level to grab some if you think and believe it's got a shot at 13 or 14. As we've discussed, a lot of bigger altcoins, possibly a lot of the ones that trade on Coinbase, might have another moon move up. I know the first 3x of all the coins on Coinbase caught everyone off guard. OMG went from 4 to 10, and perhaps it's time to take your money. But if 934 acts as support, just like with 1inch, it rushes up, and then if it comes back down, and even though sellers, hit it, if buyers show up on reasonable small dips, it could be a very powerful sign if the market turns around. So obviously you have to pay attention to these levels and see how the market trades. You have to watch resistance to see if the market backs away from it when it gets there. Okay. You have to see, like with 1inch, right? When it gets to an inflection point, when sellers show up, do buyers meet them? Frequently, when there's resistance, if the market does not back off much, it can be an indication that it's eventually going to go through that resistance. VeChain is probably the all-time classic example. Forrest was mentioning it earlier. I've been pounding on VeChain, feels like since I got out of college. VeChain gets to 9 cents. I go, this may seem a little toppy, and then it goes to 14. Why? Because when it got to 9 cents, it never really backed off. So paying close attention to who's winning the battle between bulls and bears at a very interesting support or resistance point is key to understanding the risk reward of what comes next.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Okay, let's answer a super chat here from Shakir. Ian, question. Example, you had $100,000. How would you allocate it into Litecoin, Engine, and OGN, Storm, Curate, Kylan, Paid, OVR, Mana, Blank, AOS? If you had to pick 4 to 5 short-term max gains. Well, I mean, if it was me and my money, I would not put them in any of those coins because they're pure speculation, I believe. Now, if you're trading it, right, then that's kind of based just purely on TA. But I would, if you have $100,000, I would say, one, become a customer and use the visual trends indicator for each coin and know when to get in. In terms of actually building the portfolio, we would I would probably use our quant Chad and have him go through with that list and allocate that portfolio, or just follow the indices, right? The monthly or quarterly indices, I would say. Forrest, how about you? How would you allocate your portfolio if you had 100K with those coins?
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you, Ian. I'm not particularly interested in holding any of those coins long term, unless I can identify some really key good entry points. No, Litecoin's been pumping lately, so that already tells me of those coins, the one that I'm probably most bullish on would be Litecoin, and I know it's already been pumping the last day or two. There's probably a lot of meat left on the bone for Litecoin, but if it's been pumping in the last day or two, it's telling me that the entry point is about 2 days expired, probably. So the entry point was 2 days ago, and it's probably not any longer a good entry. I'd be again becoming a Token Metrics customer and maybe looking at some different projects. I mean, I like Engine, but again, I don't think that I would have to do some TA on it to see if there's a valid entry point that makes me feel that I have low risk.
Okay, all right, thanks. Let's go on to the next question. Basically, people are convinced Cardano is the Ethereum killer. They have an almost cult-like dedication to this possibility. Do the fundamentals of ADA bear this out? So Cardano or ADA has amazing technology. For those who don't know, basically my understanding is they've approached building a smart contract blockchain from a scientific perspective, meaning that they publish journal articles, is peer reviewed before they really proceed with making any additions, right? So they're basically taking a long time to build. However, they believe that this will be the most scientific, most thorough, most formally verified way to build a smart contract blockchain, because they believe that Ethereum and other blockchains pretty much just kind of build it as they go, and nothing has really been fully planned out to make sure that this is the best way to build something. Now, I think once Cardano launches and goes live, they will most likely be Ethereum's biggest competition, in my opinion. I think Cardano and Casper Labs. Now, from a code review perspective, we gave Cardano an 88%. Casper Labs got I believe, a 98%. So Casper Labs has been the highest rated project ever, besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is pretty scary. But can Cardano catch up to Ethereum? I think if they launch and they have DeFi NFTs, I think they'll be very, very close. Forrest, didn't you actually, I think, invest in Cardano recently?
Yeah, I picked up some Cardano. I originally picked up some Cardano pretty low. I think it was 20 or 30 cents, but I picked up a little bit more at 90 cents as a hedge against Ethereum. And that ended up, being an okay trade, or an allocation in my portfolio, just based off the fact that Cardano has shown its potential to eat up market share against Ethereum. Right, we saw Ethereum shed a lot of market share. I think it dropped from 16% market dominance down to 11 or maybe even 10% at its low recently. And it's kind of based off the narrative of high gas fees, where we saw Binance Smart Chain, Cardano, AVAX, and some of these other more scalable at the time, at the present time, more scalable solutions, smart contract networks than Ethereum. So I think it is important, if you're heavy in Ethereum, to maybe hedge against that in some way, unless you're just so bullish on Ethereum that you feel that the risk isn't there. But I'm a fan of Cardano, but I do own a lot more Ethereum than I own Cardano. Essentially, Cardano hasn't really released any projects yet. And Ethereum has a pretty big moat around it in terms of the amount that's already been built on it. I don't foresee a lot of projects jumping ship from Ethereum just to go build on Cardano. I do think there's going to be some cross-chain interoperability between the two, but I do think that they can coexist. I doubt any one blockchain is going to kill something as large as Ethereum.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. Bill, do you think Cardano is the Ethereum killer?
I think when you start hearing hyperbole, like, either something is the next Bitcoin or it's the thing that's going to kill Ethereum, just like the Twilight Zone, you've entered the hyperbole zone. Cardano is a trade based on two things. One, as you said, the scientific quality of the project itself and how they're building it, combined with a good old-fashioned rage trade, because the altcoin casino has high fees to play in it. So can Cardano go higher? Yes. Is Ethereum going to just, die and float off into the sunset, particularly with the catalysts that are coming up this summer? No. Is Forrest right in the sense that, do you have to have something in your portfolio that might moon if something happens to ETH? Yes. That's actually brilliant in terms of how you would say it. One thing that I would add, because I'm always talking about the future of money, our introductory video commercial with Ian talks about it. You can pay for things with ETH. You can pay for NFTs, for art, comic books, and ETH is money, right? It's one of the things that the Ripple lawsuit is going to make clear once again, because it's going to show the SEC's process in saying that ETH, even though it's a giant technology network, is not a security, is a currency or a commodity. You can pay for things with ETH. I know Cardano, I know Polkadot are exciting. I know people are really angry about gas fees. However, anger and emotion are the enemy of traders and investors. Remember, you can pay for things with Ethereum.
All right. Thank you, Bill. So if you're enjoying this live stream, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe, put on alerts, and tell a friend to tell a friend that we're live and crypto is the future of money. Okay. Next question. Then we'll probably wrap things up shortly. Are NFTs here to stay, or are they a bubble? If so, what NFT projects are you bullish on? I think NFTs are here to stay. Now, yes, it might be a bubble, but I don't think it's gonna go to zero. And because I think just the fact of being able to have something digital that's scarce on the blockchain, whether collectibles, art, what have you, that's not going away anytime soon, right? And that use case could be even bigger than DeFi itself, right? Because we saw NFTs surpass DeFi in terms of Google Trends. So the projects we like, we've covered Flow Protocol before in the past. That's one we like. It's basically the blockchain that runs NBA Top Shot, and they also have a partnership coming up with the UFC as well. So that's kind of, in my opinion, the best way to get exposure to NFTs without having to actually invest in NFTs, because you're basically investing in the infrastructure of NFTs. I would also add to that list, what's that? Audius. They're probably going to be launching music NFTs. Forrest, any other NFT projects we like? I think those are Super Rare and a few others.
There's Super Rare, which hasn't launched a token yet, but does have notable investors, including think Mark Cuban, Ashton Kutcher, some celebrity investors. You've also got Chamath in there, as well as some other notable investors in that one. Engine's a pretty solid project too, and they're putting out a token. They're building a token called Efinity that's going to be similar to Flow. It's going to be a Flow competitor, but it's going to be built by the team who built Engine, and Engine's a really solid top 100 cryptocurrency as well. So I'd definitely keep an eye out for Efinity when the token does launch.
Okay, then Rally is also is that NFTs or just social tokens?
No NFTs there. As far as I know, it's just social currencies. So, a content creator creating whatever their name is, token, so that their communities can invest in their token. Logan Paul token.
Bill, what do you think about NFTs?
NFTs have empowered artists. You've heard the term starving artists. Well, if you've talked to anybody who creates NFTs and what they're asking in order to create them, you can see how much the art market has changed. Now, if you can change and empower artists, you can do it for musicians, content creators of all kinds. Forrest has mentioned decentralized content. Somewhere in NFTs, there could be a bubble. It could be the platforms. When I remember back in the days of collecting comic books, it was more profitable to collect comic books themselves than it was to own a comic book store. The story in NFTs is about empowering those who are hopelessly, left out of the picture. It's never paid to produce content. It's never paid to produce music or art. Crypto and blockchain is going to change that, all right? Because people are going to be able to interface with things that they don't know is crypto, but it is crypto. It is blockchain. And when they discover it, just like they discovered ETH because they discovered that was a way to pay for NFTs, it changed the dynamics of the cryptocurrency market. So are there people holding NFT art, and are there people holding NFT platforms, tokens that will eventually get smoked? Yes. Do I care? No. Because NFTs will be remembered as the start of the tokenization of everything, particularly people who have been powerless to date under the old system. That is going to be the historical importance of NFTs.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Okay. So time for us to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the show, smash the like button and share this video with a friend. So Bill, any last words to our crypto family?
Yes. If you feel like you've missed out, if you feel like you've got to turn $100,000 and have it 20x, or you've failed as a human being or an investor, I would encourage you to quietly step back and drop that and realize that, one, you've got tons of company. Everyone feels that way. The people who are going to make the money in the bull market, particularly if it goes parabolic, will be the people who can set those feelings aside, those fear of missing out, those where you take it personally that you feel like you're late to the game. You're not. You're not too early. You're not too late. You're right on time. And somehow, some way, you have to convince yourself to be smart with your money and not hard on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. You be good to yourself. The crypto portfolio, the knowledge, the things you need to do will fall into place, because my final word is this: you're smarter than you give yourself credit for.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Forrest, any last words to our family?
Yeah, I'll keep it pretty short, and it's a theme that I touched on earlier in the stream. Manage your risk, and by extension, manage your greed. We're getting at a point in the market where everyone gets greedy. And if you're greedy, that's a recipe for disaster. So manage your risk, and by extension, manage your greed.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. And I'll just kind of add on to that. I would say don't get lazy. Yes, right now you can just close your eyes and just hit a bull run, right? And basically everything is going up. However, still put in the work to do the research to find the great projects, because we're not just investing because it's a bull run. We're investing for a lifetime, right? So those projects that will be the big wins, the next Heliums, the next Binance, right? Those projects, those 1000x returns are still available, even in a bull run. But we have to find the research, right? We have to find projects and know so much about them that we're able to then be very confident in our strategy, in our investments. That way, we don't really get tossed out of the investment, right? Because lots of people are posting in the comments, whether on Telegram or other channels, hey, is Armor still good? Is this project still good? Right? Because if you've done your research and you're there as the first person on an island trying to wait for everybody else to realize how good this project is, you won't leave the island after 3 months, right? Because you've really done your research to a point where you fully understand how valuable whatever you're investing in is, right? So for example, with Helium, the reason why we're able to be patient with Helium was because we had done our research. I knew how innovative it would be, right? Not everybody saw it back then at 20 cents or at 10 cents, right? Now at $20, they see it, but our research is what gave us the confidence to weather the storm, right? So right now, my advice is do your research, right? That way you're able to weather the storm through any volatile markets. With that being said, thank you, crypto family. And as we like to say,
we just landed on the moon in the Lambo.
The moon is not the limit. To the moon and beyond. Thank you, everybody. Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Bill.
everyone.
Thank you, Forrest.
Life-changing money to a point where you can buy your mom and dad a brand new house, right? You can pay off your college loans. You can invest in your future, not have to work again, pursue your dreams, your passion, not have to have a job, work that 9-to-5 grind, right? Break the system, hack the system. This is what this show is all about.
They said relax but never retire. Feeling detached, never inspired. They told me relax but I can't retire. I'm feeling detached, never inspired. Like I would live on but never alive. You know the system, AM till 5. They try to say our jobs and give on. They living a lie. Now here's the mission, die or decide. You would die. The corporate life is so redundant when your freedom isn't free. It comes to being someone just believe that you can be. And how can I have hunger when they tell me when to eat? How can I lead others when they tell me who to meet? Then they tell me when to come and then they tell me when to leave. They say how much to give and then forget how much I need. It's the precious to succeed with the lessons of the greed. I question who to be and saw this message is in me. I gotta know.
Life-changing money.
I wanna work for myself, I gotta work for myself, I gotta go.
You can invest in your future,
Bring
not have to work
spirits to the
again.
moon, put nerves on the shelf, I gotta know.
Pursue your dreams, your
I
passion.
wanna stay free or want the safety, I gotta go.
Break the system, hack the system.
Although they paid me,
This is what the
they
show's
never
all
made
about.
me. I wanna relax, forever retire. I wanna detach, I'm feeling inspired. They told me relax, but I can't retire. I gotta detach, gotta decide. They got me thinking I would live on, but never rely. You know the system, AM till 5. They try to say our jobs and give on. They living a lie. Now here's the mission, die or decide. You or die now. Hey, hey, I will never be a wage slave. I gotta stay made. Hey, hey, hey. I used to see this in the 8th grade. Wasn't a day late. Hey, hey. I found the love that I was seeking, life that I'm leading. Ay, ay, ay. Now I can do this every weekend, cause I'm a free man. I was in Tokyo, riding the job wheel, the rodeo, dancing with the devil for payment. I couldn't do-si-do, but I was driven. The mission gave me an open road. Made a decision to whip him like it's a motor show. 6-figure slave, I was paid, wasn't well though. Heard of crypto underground, it became my railroad. Started making earnest money, it's for whom the bell tolls. Went from wishing for sales clothes to sales. Now I can relax, forever retire. Now I'm detached, forever inspired. Now I can relax, forever retire. I had to detach. had to decide. And now I'm thinking I can live on and not just survive. You know this system, AM till 5. They try to say a job's a give on, they live in a lie. I made a mission, die at the side, do or die now. Crypto retirement, yeah, that's where my mind went. Started thinking higher, now they can't hire my time spent. No, not retire like 65 when your job ends. More like an island, and if I'm by it, I buy it. Free travel, dealerships, we dabble. I reign like Leeds Castle, you reign like Seattle. We went from sheep cattle to eating beef and mackerel at feast. No lassos, just beliefs me in a saddle. You gotta know.
Like life changing, like
You wanna work for yourself, you gotta work for yourself, you gotta go.
not have to work again.
Raise spirits to the moon, put nerves on the shelf, you gotta know.
Pursue your dreams, your
You
passion.
wanna stay free or want the safety, you gotta go.
This is what the show is all about.
Although they paid you, they never made you. No, we can relax, forever retire. Now we detach, forever inspired. Now we can relax, forever retire. We had to detach, had to decide. And now we know that we can live on and not just survive. We left the system, AM till 5. They try to say our jobs a give on, they live in a lie. We made a mission, die at the side, do or die now.
I'm here to put you guys on and share all the different resources and tips I come across in my journey to making $1 million and making $1 billion, right? I'm trying to share this with the world for free. I'm not here to sell you some $2,000 course, ebook, webinar, whatever, right? I'm here to put you guys on the game for free, open source, right? The same model as blockchain, Bitcoin, or these cryptocurrencies. I'm here to share everything with you guys.
Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.